On this day, the 4th of May, three forces of creative genius entered our world, each destined to leave an indelible mark on human culture. One would transform the streets of New York into a living canvas, his bold lines speaking truths that galleries couldn't contain. Another would stand on manicured greens, wielding iron and nerve to conquer the world's most prestigious fairways. And the third would give voice to characters so memorable, so delightfully flawed, that millions would hang on his every word. What invisible thread connects a street artist, a golfing phenomenon, and a comedic mastermind? What cosmic accident delivered them all on this single spring day? In the vibrant chaos of 1980s New York City, where subway cars thundered beneath streets alive with possibility and danger, a young man with round glasses and an infectious smile began drawing on empty advertising panels. Armed with white chalk and boundless imagination, Keith Haring transformed the underground into his personal gallery, and in doing so, changed the course of contemporary art forever. Born in 1958 in Reading, Pennsylvania, Haring grew up fascinated by the cartoons of Walt Disney and the comic strips his father drew. But it was the pulsing energy of New York that would shape his destiny. When he arrived in the city in 1978 to study at the School of Visual Arts, he discovered not just a place, but a movement. The downtown scene was exploding with creativity, where graffiti artists, musicians, and performers blurred every boundary between high art and street culture. Haring's style was unmistakable. Bold black lines. Radiant babies. Barking dogs. Dancing figures that seemed to vibrate with life. His images were deceptively simple yet profoundly universal, speaking a visual language that anyone could understand, whether they stood in a museum or waited for a train. He believed art should be accessible to everyone, not locked away for the wealthy few. By the mid-1980s, his work adorned galleries worldwide, yet he never abandoned his roots. He painted murals in hospitals, schools, and community centers across the globe. He opened the Pop Shop in Soho, selling affordable merchandise featuring his designs, democratizing art ownership in ways that seemed almost revolutionary. But beneath the joyful imagery, Haring was also an activist. He created powerful works addressing apartheid, nuclear proliferation, and the AIDS crisis, a cause that would become devastatingly personal. In 1988, he was diagnosed with HIV. Rather than retreat, he channeled his remaining time into advocacy, establishing the Keith Haring Foundation to support AIDS organizations and children's programs. On February 16, 1990, Keith Haring died from AIDS-related complications. He was just 31 years old. In barely a decade of public work, he produced thousands of pieces, collaborated with icons from Andy Warhol to Grace Jones, and left an indelible mark on visual culture. His crawling babies and dancing figures still appear on city walls, clothing, and in the hearts of those who believe that art belongs to everyone. Today, as we scroll through images on glowing screens, Haring's message remains startlingly relevant. Art should bring people together. It should speak truth to power. And it should never be silenced by circumstance. Keith Haring. From the rolling green hills of County Down in Northern Ireland, a boy once swung a golf club before he could barely walk. His name was Rory McIlroy, and he would grow to become one of the most naturally gifted golfers the world has ever seen. Born in 1989 in the town of Hollywood, just outside Belfast, young Rory discovered his passion at an age when most children are still learning to tie their shoes. His father Jerry worked multiple jobs, including night shifts at a local bar, saving every penny to fund his son's dream. His mother Rosie did the same, and together, this modest working-class family bet everything on their boy's extraordinary talent. By the age of 9, Rory had already caught the attention of the golfing world. He was a prodigy, pure and simple. His swing was fluid, almost effortless, as though he had been born knowing how to send a ball soaring through the Irish mist. At just 15, he became the youngest winner of the West of Ireland Championship and the Irish Close Championship in the same year. The whispers grew louder. Something special was happening. When he turned professional in 2007, expectations were impossibly high. Yet Rory seemed immune to pressure. In 2011, he claimed his first major championship at the US Open, shattering records with an 8-stroke victory. The following years brought more glory at the US PGA Championship in 2012, the Open Championship in 2014, and another US PGA that same year. 4 major titles before the age of 25. He stood alongside legends, mentioned in the same breath as Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus. But greatness is rarely a straight line. There were years of heartbreak, near misses, and agonizing collapses on the final holes of major championships. The 5th major, the one that would complete his career Grand Slam, remained tantalizingly out of reach. Critics questioned whether his best days were behind him. Yet through it all, Rory persevered, his love for the game never wavering, his competitive fire never dimming. What makes Rory McIlroy remarkable is not simply his talent, though that talent is undeniable. It is his humanity, his willingness to show vulnerability, to speak openly about mental health, and to champion causes beyond the fairway. He has used his platform to unite rather than divide, to inspire rather than intimidate. Today, at 37, Rory McIlroy remains a force in professional golf, still chasing that elusive 5th major, still thrilling crowds with his breathtaking power and precision. His story reminds us that greatness is not a destination but a journey, and that the boy from Hollywood still has chapters left. There is a voice that cuts through the darkness, a rumbling baritone that has become as recognizable as any face in Hollywood. It belongs to a man who turned disappointment into determination, and who found his greatest triumphs only after weathering years of rejection. William Emerson Arnett was born in Toronto, Canada, in 1970, the youngest of 4 siblings in a family that would soon be touched by both privilege and hardship. His father was a corporate executive, his mother a homemaker who raised her children in the quiet suburbs of Ontario. But beneath the surface of this comfortable existence, young Will harbored a restless spirit, a yearning for something beyond the ordinary. He discovered acting as a teenager, and the stage became his sanctuary. Yet the path to success would prove far more treacherous than he could have imagined. After studying at the Lee Strasberg Theatre Institute in New York, Arnett spent nearly a decade struggling through minor roles and countless auditions that led nowhere. He worked odd jobs, questioned his choices, and watched as friends and peers found the fame that continued to elude him. Then, in 2003, everything changed. A small cable network took a chance on a quirky comedy about a wealthy family who lost everything. Arrested Development introduced the world to Gob Bluth, a magnificently incompetent magician whose desperate need for approval masked a deep well of insecurity. Arnett threw himself into the role with fearless commitment, transforming what could have been a simple caricature into something achingly human. The show earned him his first Emmy nominations and opened doors that had long remained shut. Yet Arnett refused to rest on a single success. He lent his distinctive voice to an animated horse named Bojack, a character battling depression and addiction in a cartoon world. The Netflix series ran for 6 seasons and touched millions of viewers who found unexpected comfort in its unflinching exploration of mental health. Behind the scenes, Arnett's personal life weathered its own storms. A high-profile divorce and the challenges of co-parenting in the public eye tested his resilience. But those who know him speak of a man who leads with kindness, who mentors young performers, and who never forgot the struggle of his own early years. Today, at 56, Will Arnett stands as living proof that persistence matters more than timing. His journey reminds us that the voices we come to love often belong to those who were. What a journey through 3 completely different worlds today, from Keith Haring's bold lines that turned subway stations into galleries, to Rory McIlroy's swing that's rewritten golf history, to Will Arnett's voice that somehow makes us laugh even when he's playing the most cynical characters. 3 people who refuse to do things the expected way. So here's my question for you, drop it in the comments, who do you think left the biggest mark on their craft? And if you enjoyed this one, hit that subscribe button and give us a like. It really does help more than you know. See you in the next one.